Hello and welcome back to League 2 Live. It's Monday evening, which means we are back to talk all things the fourth tier. A great weekend of football, eventful, loads of goals, loads of action, big results at the bottom, big results at the top. We're 5/6 games in now as well. Nearly 20% through the season already. Felt a slow start, but slowly by surely, the games are ticking off. Tonight, I am joined by my usual co-host. Well, the usual co-host of the last few weeks. It is JK Analysis. Jack, how are we doing, mate?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very good. Talk to me. How was your weekend?
Oh, how's my weekend? Yeah, very, very good seeing Fleetwood finally not lose 1-0 away. How was your weekend?
So, if you don't know this lad here, we've been to 3 away games together, and all scorelines have been 1-0 to the opposite teams. So, after 15, 20 minutes, we soon realised it was 2-0 up. I thought, well, at least we're not going to lose 1-0. It might be 3-2, but it could be. Let me know if you can see and hear us in the chat down below. And hello to Zach, who's a Port Vale fan. Hello to Lewis, who is a Barrow fan. Hello, CJ, who is always here, no matter what the show. You broke the witch's curse, absolutely. Good evening, Chris. Thank you for joining me, buddy. I hope you are well. I think there's only one place to start, and that's Notts County. Now, a great result for them, being 2-0 down against Bromley, who have started the season really well. They've lost 3 of the last 4, but in context, they've lost to Bradford, a game against Crewe where they were 1-0 up in the match. And then, unfortunately, got a point at Colchester. Michael Cheek with his 4th goal of the season. He's now scored 95 goals in the last 201 games. Ben Thompson, who played for Stevenage last year and has got pedigree at Peterborough and Portsmouth and Millwall as well. They are creating chances of Bromley. They are in games. In terms of expected goals in the division, 13th, shots on target, 9th. Expected goals up there as well. However, second highest expected goals conceded. Only Newport just above them as well. And a tough month for them. They've got Gillingham and Grimsby and MK Dons to come. But Notts County, this side are phenomenal. Now, 2 wins, 1 draw away for them. McGoldrick, Jody Jones, and Jatta are all on 4 goals. You've got Crowley, 3 goals, 2 assists already. Got 27 goal comps last year as well. Jody Jones has already scored 4 goals. He only got 6 last year. And he used the word only. He got 24 assists. Unbelievable. And in every stat, goals first. In terms of conceded, they are the 9th most. Possession and expected goals up there at the top of the table. Nobody's got more than them. Expected goals conceded in the bottom 7 as well, which is really good to see. 66% of possession on average as well. Crowley, unbelievable as well. When you look at his statistics, over the last few years, Jody Jones, magnificent. He looks so threatening on the counter. And Stuart Maynard had his doubters. They're starting to dominate games and win games of football, Jack.
Yeah, and that's probably where I was going to start about Stuart Maynard. Obviously, last season, they didn't end the season well under Stuart Maynard. I think because of what Luke Williams did for Notts County prior to, obviously, Stuart Maynard joining from Wealdstone. I think it's a massive step up, obviously, from National League. Then he expected to play that possession-based brand that Notts County play. It's got its pros, it's got its cons, like I say, with any play style. Everything has its negatives, everything has its positives. But like I said, even though they're a possession-based side, the transitional play and the counter-attacking play was really, really good. And, the attacking options you've got, Jody Jones, obviously, he does play wing-back and he's on his actual weaker side on the right, but he can still produce phenomenal things with the football. Dan Crowley, he can exploit any space possible with his passes. He's absolutely brilliant. He got a goal and 2 assists. And then when you're starting David McGoldrick up top, then you're bringing Jatta on who can get a goal and assist. You can tell that the squad depth is there. And they're now getting the players back from injury. They had Kellen Gordon on the bench, who's a new signing. He hasn't featured yet, I don't think. They dropped Hinchy to the bench, who's been in that sort of 6th role. And I just think Notts are getting it right so far. They did last season under Luke Williams, but obviously he had the form and momentum from getting them up from the National League to League Two. So that's probably why, obviously, they started the season well. And yeah, I just think Notts, I think it'll come to very nicely this season. And Maynard actually started 4 centre backs originally, but then it didn't work. There were 2-1 down at the break, and then he ultimately changed it. He went back to his 3 back, and Notts County score 3 goals in the second half. And with Bromley, I think because he set the expectations a bit high at 2 wins out of the first 2, I think now people are thinking that's probably, they've now found the standard where it's going to be more difficult than maybe they were making out in games. Obviously, they beat Harrogate and Wimbledon both 2-0, but Michael Cheek, phenomenal. He's a phenomenal centre forward, and like Andy Woodman said, any centre forward scores at any level that he plays at, and Michael Cheek is certainly doing so.
Yeah, agree with that. And we've not even mentioned Jatta. He's only played 14 games after coming out of the Danish league. In January, he scored 8 goals and got 4 assists in 14 games. He scored 5 last year. So that just shows you the ability that he's got. And for me, that they're going to be a real force this season on Notts County. And they scored 14 goals in their last 5 games. And a draw away at Tranmere and a draw at home to Fleetwood, and to go and win your last 4 games of the season. Swindon have scored 4 goals for the first time since August last year, where they beat Crewe 6-0. Of that 11 that started last year, only one is still at the football club, and he was on the bench on Saturday and didn't play. Before this, they only had 3 points from their first 5 games, drawing 3, losing twice. In terms of goals, they ranked 15th, conceded 13th, possession 11th, expected goals 18th. So a typical mid-table season where you expect Swindon. They've just not been a great watch. Shamanga scores his first ever Football League goal, a really nice finish, a turn and sharp finish for him as well. He scored 7 in 16 in the National League, as well as 2 goals in the EFL Trophy for Fleetwood last year as well. Kind of 3rd lowest foul, so it shows you they aren't kind of pressing up the pitch. You don't need to make silly fouls as well. Expected goals conceded low as well, the 5th lowest in the division, which you always want to see as well. For Newport, slightly worried for them. Conceded 8 in their last 2 matches. 23 goals have been involved in this season as well. Goals, 3rd best in the division, but conceded 22nd, complete, the highest goals against as well, 11.7. And they're conceding loads of chances. They faced 39 shots in 6 games, Jack. How much of that is a worry for you?
Yeah, Newport, obviously, they started the season well, but now when they've had 2 games where they've conceded 4 goals, it looks a bit of a worry. And I mean, fair play Swindon, 4-0 at half-time. No one expected that. Kamongo Shamanga scores, and also Glatzel does the front 2, where they're missing the focal point of Harry Smith. And Sabawale had a really good game at centre-half. Mark Endy said that he'd be a championship player if he did have really good decision-making. It was his decision-making that let him down for the Notts County goal, the first one that Dave McGoldrick scored a couple of weeks ago, because he cut inside instead of probably playing down the line, where obviously Kennedy told him to probably play. But it's the first win, obviously, against Notts County. I think they were hard done by not to get a point. Barrow, they probably should have felt that they should have won that, with obviously Feely in net for Barrow. And I just think Swindon, really good on the transition. They press up high. It was a 4v3 situation in the build that won the free kick for the first goal, and then also they played a 4v4 to get a free kick for another goal. So certainly getting the basics right and stopping overloads when Newport were in the build up, and it was like the second line of press for Newport was a bit narrow, because obviously they played the 5-4-1. And I think Swindon, because they had the wing-back stretch of King and Lad on the other side, it was just easy for them to play out and then play quickly down the flank. And that's where it went wrong for Newport, really. And in build-up, they were a bit sloppy with the passes. Nelson Jardim is trying to bring in a system where he centre-backs in midfield and and the rest of the defence, they need to be comfortable on the ball. They need to try and get Newport from defence to midfield, but then get to the attack. But then it seems like they're not doing that, and they're having too many turnovers. And Swindon, a really energetic side. They've got Gavin Kilkenny in the midfield, who I think is a really energetic figure when he gets man to man with maybe the opposition 10 if he comes deep. And ultimately, Newport had 3 shots against Swindon, and that really can't happen in a football match. And they've won 3, they've lost 3. I think it's that level of consistency that Nelson Jardim needs to maybe drill into them, because obviously they went scoring 3 in some games and they only beat Morecambe 1-0. But then, like I said, they conceded 4 to Port Vale. They've now conceded 4 to Swindon. They can't let this happen. They need to get a clean sheet in the next game.
I am seeing Newport. I know they won 3 games on the bounce, and Doncaster has to be mentioned, but they beat Morecambe and Accrington. I know you got to beat sides that are going to be around you, but all of a sudden you play Port Vale and you're playing Swindon away. I thought this would happen. And when you conceded 8 chances, 8 shots on goal against Accrington, and Accrington were miles a better side as well. They are very much like Fleetwood in the way that they've gone for a younger squad, a younger model this year, where if you look at the experienced players, in Baker Richardson's 28, well, Ronan Coughlin is 28, and they've got Aaron Wildig, who's 32, as their kind of advanced playmaker. Fleetwood have got Danny Mayer, who's 33, and the average age of the 11s 24.2 odd. And the Fleetwood squad this season has been around that number as well. So there is similarities as well. Big chances missed as well. You know, he's up there, and fouls committed is up there as well. So a bit of a worry. A great day for football at the weekend as well. And I'm not just talking about Jack's streak ending of losing games of football, but 11 home matches they won last year, and I think they drew 6 and lost 6. And I mentioned 39 points is okay at home. To take them to the next level, I want them to go and get 45 points this year. Well, they've already got 9 from 3 games, and they've beaten Colchester, Fleetwood and MK Dons in doing so. And they've scored now 8 goals at home without reply. They went 2-0 down with Goodliffe scoring twice in the first 9 minutes. They scored 4 goals after that, and they scored against Fleetwood without replying. They scored 3 against MK Dons. Expected goals of 1.80, 12 shots, 8 on target. Johnny Jackson won his 44th AFC Wimbledon game as well. Second back-to-back win over their rivals at home as well. In terms of goals, they're up there, you know, in terms of 4th in the division, second in the division, 1.8 per game as well. 3rd clean sheet in a row after beating Cheltenham, Fleetwood, and now MK Dons as well. Hippolyte again from a goal from a direct free kick. I think there should have been if that was given, there should have been 5 given at Carlisle against Fleetwood the other day, believe me. Make up with his first 2 goals as well, and good to see that. Hippolyte with his 50th career goal at the weekend as well. Tough test for them as they go to Vale Parade and then face Accrington and Crewe at home. You'll be looking, if you go and get 6 points out of that. For MK Dons, Jack, they've lost 4 of the last 6. They've not scored away from home yet. Now, I went to compare their home form, where they've won their last 2 games recently as well against Carlisle and Walsall, and you've lost away at Salford, Colchester, and now Wimbledon. In terms of shots on target, at home they've had 16, away they've had 10. Shots on target faced, at home they've only faced 9, away 22. So averagely at home 3, away over 7. Expected goals 5.05 at home, 3.14 away. So they are creating probably over half a goal less per game, and they are conceding 3 times, nearly 2.5 times as much as well. Possession 65% on both counts as well. Expected goals faced over 4, and at home just under 2.5. With Doncaster to come at home at the weekend, it's vital to carry on that home form. How worried are you for Williamson, or do you think it's just an early blip because they had a lot of new players in that 11? I think they had, out of the 11, 8 were new, and there was 1 that was on loan at another club last year. So you could basically say there's 9 new players in that side gelling together, and we are only 6 matches into the League 2 season.
I think for Williamson, it's a must-win on his behalf against Doncaster. I know it's mental saying that only 7 games into the season, but that MK Dons fan base, when Williamson gets it wrong, they don't have much time for him, unfortunately. And that stemmed from last season with the playoffs, where it was an absolute disaster against Crawley in over both legs. And it's unfortunate for Williamson because I think he's a class manager. He's young, he's bound to make mistakes, but unfortunately, fan bases are like that. If you don't win the matches away and then you don't shy away from your possession-based style that obviously don't get you wins, the fan base can get a bit toxic and they do want a fresh face in. But MK Dons are a club that'll never shy away from a possession-based manager, so you'll only just probably get another young profile in, probably maybe Rob Elliott from Gateshead, who's another young manager playing a possession-based style, and then MK will probably want him out too. So for me, Williamson can't win at the moment, but MK have a right to be, disheartened, because you can't go into a game like that and get beat away at 3-0 Wimbledon, because if you're having 74% possession, you've got to have at least more than 10 shots, and they only had 8. But Wimbledon, I've been really impressed with. They're a physical side. They want to get balls into Bugle. Obviously, Piggott didn't play, but he's an absolute pain for the opposition. He was against Fleetwood. And I like that. They didn't start Furlong. They started Tilly instead, who's more of an offensive player, scored 12 goals last season, but he still did his defensive work well. 3 tackles, 1. Fair play to him. And then Callum Maycock, he comes off the bench and scores 2 goals. I think it was Josh Kelly who got 2 assists for him too. So Johnny Jackson made the right subs at the right time to get 2 injury time goals and really kill the game off. I think for Wimbledon, I'm really happy with what I've seen from him, to be honest. I think they are, one of them sides where you expect him to be in the top 10. The squad's on paper nothing special, but then they've got a side that want to work for each other. They want to get balls forward. They want to play a good style of play, and ultimately they didn't give Fleetwood a sniff, to be honest. When we had more of the ball, they stayed in a defensive block and they didn't let us have anything. And that was probably the case with MK Dons when they went forward. That Wimbledon was in that much of a resolute block. MK Dons couldn't create many chances.
I think that's slightly harsh, calling them not that special. I think they're a good side at this level. They're very well organised, very hard to beat, hard to break down. And a great question from Ben, who I'm guessing is an AFC Wimbledon fan. So welcome, Ben. Thoughts on Wimbledon's more defensive style of football? Very structured, very hard to break down. Not backs against the walls, but they got back into shape very, very well at all times, and they always had a spare man, it felt. And the way they could dig deep and just follow the press and kind of be concentrated at all times. I watched Fleetwood train a little bit today, and the way they were kind of like the coach would have the ball and the players would sit in and ready to press. That's where Wimbledon come into their own, and they've got good options in the forward area like Bugle, like Piggott, Hippolyte from midfield as well, and there's plenty of others. Matty Stevens off the bench as well. Morecambe 3, Colchester 3. Morecambe scored their first goal, Jack, of the season. 5 matches without one. Talk me through it and I'll jump in.
Just actually going back to Wimbledon, I meant like the squad in general. It isn't like something that gets you off your seat. Obviously, like I touched on, the style of play, it's attacking and want to get forward. It's just that the squad, you don't expect him to maybe be in the playoffs, if you get what I mean. But obviously, Johnny Jackson is tuning the best out of the 11 that he's starting. So fair play to him. And yeah, Morecambe, at least they're not going to get the first goal against us on Monday. So that's the only positive I can take from that. No, but it's just resilience, really. They were 3-1 down with 10 men in the 64th minute. And then they go and get the draw. And I've said every time I've been on League One, not League One, sorry, I'm thinking that Fleetwood's still in League One, at League Two live, that if Morecambe are going to get results, it's through hard work, determination, and being resolute and being as a proper team, because Derek Adams will ultimately want his Morecambe side to be like that. It won't be down to quality, because as we saw the equaliser, I don't think Colchester fans will want to see that back again. But I'm really impressed with Callum Jones. Got a goal and assist, 3 tackles, 17 passes in the final third, looking to be the more advanced midfielder when Sonogo's maybe sitting. And I think with Morecambe now, they're finally scoring. But then if they do score, they're conceding 3 when they are scoring. It will be just getting that right level of balance with Morecambe.
I said that last week, didn't I?
Yeah, and Colchester, so far with the squad, you've got to think they played Harrogate, they played Accrington, they played Morecambe. They've only got 2 points out of a possible 9 there. And and then they drew against Bromley, who really, they should be beating them sides. For Colchester, who on paper have one of the most creative sides in Jack Payne and Bishop when they let Woodyard sit. And then they've got Lyle Taylor, who hasn't played in League Two for a long time. And when Tovide and Taylor were linking up, they were really well. Tovide's assist for the third was absolutely brilliant from the left, just stretching the Morecambe backline. Then Taylor's a poacher, but I just think this Colchester side can do a lot better. And I think that you need to give the Carlisle brothers time to tune the best out of this squad, because they like to play a brave style of play. And I think that there is a lot more to come. And but then if they have played the easier side, shall we say, in Accrington, Harrogate, Bromley and Morecambe, no disrespect to them sides, but like I said, aside with the quality of Colchester, they should be getting points against them. And when they play the big boys in the league like Port Vale, Doncaster, Gillingham, Chesterfield, Bradford, sort of them teams, are they going to win and are they going to get points?
It's difficult because they only won 5 times away last year. They got 20 points away last year. And to kick on where they want to, they're probably going to have to add 10 points to that. And that's a lot. That's turning those 5 draws into wins, or potentially 5 defeats into draws, and then a couple of draws into wins as well. They had 8 shots on target the other day, 3.27 expected goals, and the 3-1 open, a penalty given away, a soft one as well. And it goes to 3-2. And then all of a sudden, Anthony Scully has a chance, and it's a good save. And obviously, it comes out to him and should score. It goes over the bar, and Marcus Dackers hits it, and it comes off a Colchester man and finds its way through. And maybe that's the luck that Morecambe have been needed. Sometimes you need luck on your side when you're like Morecambe and struggling at the bottom and struggling to score goals and struggling to get results. Maybe that's been coming, but in terms of Colchester, they've got Tovide up there, they've got a goal and assist. Taylor got his first goal for the football club. He got 3 last year. He scored a brace, and then obviously got a goal and assist against Fleetwood on debut as well. In terms of goals, 5th in the division, conceded 18, expected goals 5th, shots on target, 1st in the division. They are up there for statistics. And they will get better. They will dominate games because of the quality they've got in the team. Like, it's a really good team. Teddy Bishop, Anthony Scully, Jack Payne, Tovide, Lyle Taylor. This isn't a side now that is a poor side. It's a much better team than last year. And Danny Cowley slowly but surely improved it. He probably needs another year to implement it. But this year it's about trying to finish, maybe get 15 wins on the board. That'd be a huge start. For Morecambe, it's good to see Ben Tollett score. He scored 4 in the National League North for Chester last year as well. In terms of goals, the lowest in the division. Shots on target, second lowest in the division. Fleetwood away next week. It's a derby. Then you've got to entertain Notts County and Bradford. That is a tough start. That is a tough game. That Fleetwood game, they have to look at getting points from, in my eyes, Jack. Carlisle 2, Fleetwood 3. I'll let you start off with this. It's your first ever Fleetwood Town victory that you've ever seen in your life, isn't it?
I just want to have an appreciation message, really, to Danny Mayer, because I don't think I've seen a performance like it from a Fleetwood midfielder. But no, I think we needed to really go to Carlisle and beat them, especially with the interim managers that they have. No disrespect to Rudd and Mark Birch, but you go to Carlisle and you want to start well, which we did. Obviously 2-0 up inside 20 minutes. And yeah, I just think the energy levels were there in the first 20 minutes. Probably the best start we've had since Blackpool at home, would you say? Probably from a Fleetwood side, the best sort of first 20 minutes on the front
Yeah,
foot. Always
unbelievable,
looked a threat. Yeah.
unbelievable. So fast, front-footed. Somebody's analysis might have helped as well.
Yeah, Charlie Adam must be looking at my pre-match report and thinking, yeah, that lad knows his stuff, and we'll go from there and we'll stick to his plan. But no, I think a Fleetwood side from 10 months ago would have lost 3-2 or maybe even 4-2. And I think an interviewer said that to Charlie Adam, and he said he don't care what happens in the past, he cares what happens now, in the present, and the future. And obviously it's a different Fleetwood side, and we're not going to do that anymore, which obviously is true now. I really liked what I saw, and then I've tweeted about it about 10 times about Danny Mayer. On his day, I don't like using on his day, like United fans say about Paul Pogba on his day, he's the best midfielder in the world. But on his day, Danny Mayer is one of the best players in League Two, and I will stand by that. And he scores a brace against Carlisle, and then he shows his technical ability, his footwork's great. He's a small space operator, and then when he finally pulls the trigger in the 12-yard box, Danny Mayer scores. He just needs to do that more, just have the confidence to do it more often, and then show that character side that everyone says he has, to be confident, go forward, and just have some self-belief. But on a whole, Fleetwood, I was impressed, to be honest. Obviously, we conceded a penalty. It was offside, really, I thought, for the Carlisle second goal, Charlie White. But like I said, just the resilience to get that goal, and then after that, we didn't look like conceding.
Carlisle have won 4 of their last 26 home matches at Brunton Park. They've won at home on a Saturday once in 13 months. I don't think I need to say more than that. Charlie White, who has hit the bar twice, yes, and has struggled and has done well other than scoring goals. Why is it taking him 6 games to have a shot on target as your number 9? And that's a penalty. That's embarrassing. That's absolute, not from his point of view, that you are not getting crossed into the box to feed Charlie White, and he's lived off scraps. He's had opportunities. He's had 3 half opportunities where he's at the bar and side netting that was 20 yards out. A really good pass by Josh Feller. He does occasionally have them. Josh Feller is a workhorse. I'll give him that. Absolute workhorse. And he's one of the sides, when he's in your side, you kind of like him at times. And if he's against you, he's like, oh, Josh Feller. For Carlisle to concede the amount of goals, they've only conceded 47 in 26 home matches. I think Harry Lewis has conceded 54 in 23 games as Carlisle goalkeeper. Swindon away, Grimsby and NOTTS County at home. The Petrek family, the main owner, came out today and says they arranged interviews over the weekend, and they are confident they've got the right people to come into the football club. So I'm guessing that they've already lined up somebody who shall be. I know, Barry Murphy had been mentioned. Other coaches from other countries have been mentioned as well. It's vital to get them in before Swindon, because that is an opportunity for them, because you're 6 games into the season now. In a couple of weeks after these 3 games, you're starting to come through nearly a third of the way through the season almost as well. But for Fleetwood, the best I've seen us in a long, long time, that first 20 minutes. And that's because midfielders got the ball and played into a player and made an overlap and run. And that's the first time I've seen us use overlaps all season. And it's been frustrating. You get your fullbacks, Mackenzie Hunt scoring, getting 3 assists. CJ on the other side getting assists, using his body so well. Carl Johnson's not getting any appreciation for that assist. It's a great ball in by Phoenix. And the way that he just, you opens up his body, and it's a great hit by Danny Mayer. 45 games have passed, he's not scored. And I like his honesty where he goes, I wasn't happy last season. I'm happy now. And he said, my standards last year was an absolute joke. And I can now see why he's the funny one in the room, because he just said it as it was. In terms of possession, 4th lowest in the division. But in terms of goals conceded, the 8th lowest in the division. Shots per match, 50. Passes, 11th. So we are getting the ball forward, and we are getting better. The first 2 games of the season, we averaged, I think, 30% of possession against Grimsby, 33 against Grimsby, and 19 against Notts County away. Gillingham, we dominated the game, should have won it. Wimbledon away was a tough game. We won't dominate games for large periods. It's not who we are, but it's a great win. And if we'd have lost yesterday, we're third bottom, but we're now sat 12th. And all of a sudden we're thinking if we beat Morecambe, that's 11 points from 5 games. It's a dangerous game, but a great start. Keep your comments coming in, guys. That'd be massively appreciated. Please like the stream. That'd go a long way as well. All you need to do is to get involved in the chat, is subscribe. And if you're a fan of League One or League Two content, it would mean a lot. It was great to see so many more Fleetwood fans. Yeah, local game always brings them out. But again, good number, over 300. We took 450 there last year. It was the opening day, though. On his day, Jack's analysis is world class. A bit like Danny Mayer. He hasn't won a season so far. 1 in 45. Fleetwood Carlisle, I'll tell you what, that's the best vlog in a long time. Thanks very much, Luke. I appreciate that. That's probably the nicest thing you've ever said to me. How is Harrogate getting on at Fleetwood? He came on the other day and it's the best I've seen him. His movement, I thought he ran well. He opened up channels. He didn't really do a lot on the ball, did Harrogate, but he's off the ball movement. I don't know about you, Jack. I thought it was brilliant the other day.
Yeah, I just think when he came on against Wimbledon, we weren't a good side at all, to be honest. And I think when we were a good side, you could see more of Harrods' work off the ball. And I think he had a part to play in Danny May's goal. I think he highlighted that in his interview, just holding the ball up. And can I just add that Fleetwood haven't scored a goal this season in the games that we've had more of the ball. Every time that we've had less of the ball, we've scored a goal. And I'm not saying that obviously Charlie Adam hasn't got a structure going forward when we have more possession, but it's just that we're more free-flowing when we have less of the ball and more effective when we get the Ryan Gradens on it and we get Mark Helm, Danny May going forward. And we're more of an effective side. And I'm not saying against Morecambe I want them to dominate against us, because in a derby I want us to have the authority. But every time we get it, go forward. Yeah. And like you said, Mackenzie Hunt, Carl Johnston, use them well and just get them overlapping.
We're not a counter-attacking team, but we are a team that we're quicker in transition. I think sometimes when we keep the ball for too long, we overthink it. I don't know about you. I think we overthink it. I think at times we know what we want to do, but we just overthink it. And it's just being a bit more confident. And we'll get there. This will take time, but I believe this group will get there. And the spine of the team, Tony said it the other day, your Brendan Wiradus, your Mackenzie Hunts, your Ronan Coughlan's, your Danny Mayers, these are good players that are getting better. And then you've got a good core of the team in your Matty Virtues, your Elliot Bonds, who I thought came on and really changed the dynamic of that game because that was going in their favour. He came on. You've got Phoenix, who you can bring on for something different. Carl Johnson is the utility man of the team. Matty Virtue was excellent against West Bromwich, having the best player on the pitch by a country man. And you've got other players that will thrive. And going back to Ben, I think what Fleetwood do well is reducing the coach travel, which is really good, which you won't get at other football clubs. And I think it was £27 to go and watch some League Two matches this weekend, which is ridiculous, and it should be capped. Gillingham 3, Tranmere 0. Tranmere have got the lowest expected goals in the division, Jack, on 2.5. By far the lowest in the division. And in terms of goals, 23rd. Possession 20th, shots on target 24th, expected goals 24th. The only reason they're not there is because how good defensively they've been. And 4th in terms of goals conceded. They've been so strong up to then. How worried were you? Because for me, I said it's a great start and I like what Adkins has done. He kept them up last year. But I felt Tranmere fans were slightly getting a bit ahead of themselves in a way that I don't believe that could have continued the way they were doing, because they aren't creating chances. They are a dull watch. And Cheltenham, like at the minute, it's great when you win. But when you get battered 3-0 away at Gillingham, especially with a man advantage, questions will be asked when you play like that. If you do that regularly 3 or 4 games' time and it's still not improved, all of a sudden we're so good defensively, you're thinking, well, hang on a minute, we're not offering anything attacking.
Yeah, when your defence gets opened up, you want your forward line to react. And obviously, they've not done that, and they've conceded 4 goals so far this season. 3 obviously came against Gillingham, and they have 75% of the ball in the second half because of Ethan Coleman's red card on the 61st minute mark, and they've got 14 shots. got to put one in the back net when you've got Jennings on the pitch, who is a more experienced face, and other players like Morris on the wing. And then the first half, there was only 5 shots each and only 1 shot on target. So it showed how more or less it opened up the game in that second half for him. And for Tranmere, I didn't get the hype at the start of the season where everyone was putting in mid-table, and they didn't do much attractive business. They didn't get a Rob Apter replacement, and he obviously got 18 goal contributions last season. And you're just thinking, where are the goals going to come from? And sort of the creativity. And Amari Patrick's probably their best offensive player for me, and obviously he didn't contribute against Gillingham, and they didn't score a goal. But fair play to Gillingham. Jaden Clark off the bench got a brace, who hasn't really got the run he probably would have wanted to, but he's got 2 goals and assists so far this season. Gillingham now 4 clean sheets. 8 out of 9 goals scored are at home. They've got Elliot Nevitt back. They're getting injured play. They're getting players back from injuries, which will now help him going into sort of October and November time, and then soon comes Christmas time where the injuries sort of start to get busier, and then you're begging for the January transfer window to come to get loanees for the end of the season. But I thought Gillingham were very good on the counter attack, especially on the left where Max Clark would win the ball back. I think it's Dobie on the left who it would drop deep, just carry the ball forward. And I really like the goal where it was Lapsley who went across to Dobie's side, then Nolan went across into like the sort of 10 position, and then Hutton's on the overlap, because for me Gillingham's best sort of wing is on the right when you have Nolan and Hutton. Then he pulls it back to Amani Little, then the 1-up, and then when Clark comes on the pitch, he has energy, he gets in behind, and then Marcus Wiley assists him for the first one. The second one, he feeds the ball through, obviously Clark. The keeper saves his shot originally, then he gets the rebound. So Gillingham, great subs. Marcus Wiley coming from, I think, step 3 or 4, and then he's already got 2 assists, I think, so far this season, Wiley. So very impressive from him, and I've been really impressed with Gillingham so far. I think Mark Bonner's got him playing some really, really good stuff.
Walsall, great result for them over Bradford. Now, the mentality is slowly swifted over the last few years. At the football club, Matt Sadler in charge of the Saddlers, Simkin has come in goal, and I was a big fan of him at Solihull. I remember him saving a penalty from Dion Charles against the FA Cup last year, and remember him thinking, it was a good goalkeeper, an England under-19s goalkeeper as well. The shithousery, by the way, on him when at the end of the game giving it to 1,700 Bradford fans, unbelievable. Yeah. We've won all 3 matches, and Taylor Allen's been a huge part of that. Scored on the opening day from outside the box against Morecambe. He scored his 3rd goal of the season. Only got 3 last year as well. Not normally a goal scorer, you'd imagine as well. 4 wins this season. They've lost once this season, and I think that was away at Tranmere 1-0. They've got Colchester at home to come as well. Salford away, where they won 2-1 last year, where big Freddie Draper, who was on loan, scored twice. I remember watching that game live as well. They won 12 games at home last year, and they're already a quarter of the way there. For Bradford, lost the last 2 away matches now. Lost 9 away games last year. Already lost 2. Team the possession, the 10th, conceded 10. Goals scored, though, unexpected goals in the playoffs in 4th and 5th. Expected goals conceded low down there as well. I'm a penalty decision and a couple of decisions that Graham Alexander wasn't happy about. Give me your thoughts.
Just about Taylor Allen. He's like the sort of the Will Wright of Walsall. A really creative spark from centre half, and he creates a lot of chances. He steps up from the penalty spot. It's his 3rd goal from centre back so far this season, and it's brilliant for Walsall to have a player like that. I mean, sort of we have one with Brendan Wirdy who'll step up and be progressive, but obviously he don't get the figures like Allen and Will Wright does. But yeah, I think for Walsall, I'm really surprised by the start and really impressed. But then when you've got Albert Adoma, who puts 2 very, very good balls in from the right-hand side into the box, only 1 goes in from Danny Johnson, you're just thinking, you've got that quality coming off the bench, just having a little cameo with 10 minutes each game, and then he's impacting games like that. Scored against Swindon when he was relied on earlier than he probably would have expected. But I really like the midfield of Walsall. Jamie Jellis, who will link up play in the final third. Charlie Lake, and I was really impressed by him at Sutton last season. Sort of his 4 months, just a really technical player with his left foot. And then Sturk, who'll break up the play, who want to link the play from defence to attack. And I think he can also cut the play when needed to. And I think for Bradford, obviously, Alexander had a bit of a whine about the decision that went against him, and Bradford, I think, just a bit of the consistency that they're lacking again. I liked Sanderson's goal. I really like Jamie Walker. He's got a lot of energy about him. It was sort of the same, dispossess the centre-back and then cut it back for the striker to score like he did against Carlisle last week. And they had 5 shots all game. I think 3 were on target. You probably got to be more clinical. I think in the second half, they had 2 sort of scrambles that they should have scored and it would have gotten 2-1 up, but unfortunately they didn't. And then Walsall went and got all 3 points, which Bradford, they're obviously still in the playoffs. I know it's early days. You can't go off the table just yet, but Alexander just needs to get that level of consistency, then the fans will buy into what he's sort of doing. Because like you've said before, he won't try and play sort of the prettiest football, but he'll grind results out. And when it's going good for Bradford, I think Valley Parade will be a fortress, and then hopefully they can carry on their away from last season.
The last 18 minutes of the show, so 5 games to go through. Quickly on now to the not so pretty game. So if you are still here, thank you very much. Please keep liking and keep the comments flowing as well. Salford unbeaten in 4 matches now since the defeat to Port Vale on the opening day. Back-to-back home matches that they've won. Keeper Delikin coming off the bench, scoring twice in just under half an hour. In terms of passes, per game, expected goals, they are low. Expected goals, second lowest in the division. 19th in terms of kind of expected goals against, though. So solid defensively, not great going forward at this moment, but they've got good options. Cole Stockton's not really hit it there as well. For Cheltenham, they lost 4 of the last 5. Both wins have come in the last minute, both at home. They've lost all 3 matches away, all by 1 goal, 3-2, 2-1 and 2-1. Very close in terms of statistics and a very, very tough watch, really, but Salford got over the line, and maybe that's what they're going to need to do this year. Slowly getting better, and Keeper Delikin will add to that, won't he, Jack?
I think that's probably the best business Salford will do in a long while, getting Keeper Delikin on a free transfer. Can't believe he didn't go back to Doncaster. I'm not gutted by it because I'm not a Doncaster fan before you start saying anything or anyone in the comments, but 2 goals from outside the box. I was really impressed with Fauna. 2 chances created, 4 dribbles, most passes, 10 passes in the final third, 14 recoveries, 2 tackles won, and 9 duels won. He seems like a monster in the midfield at League 2 level. And Salford, they're surprising me, to be honest. I didn't have them too high up in my predictions, to be honest. I had them in the bottom 2, but Carl Robinson probably shouldn't really be a League 2 manager. And Cheltenham, they still need time to gel, to be honest. And they've got too many players in. They only had 5 from last season coming into this season. So just that bit of gel that they need with each other. And I think they've got a real good bright spark in Colwell. So play off his strength in Cheltenham. Will start hopefully picking points up because, like you said, the wins that they've got, they're at home and they win in the last minute. They need to make it more convincing.
Harrogate 2, Doncaster 0. You were a little bit confident on this one. Doncaster have now lost 2 of their 3 away matches, beat Port Vale away. Goals third, conceded 13th, expected goals third, most passes 4th in the division as well. Lost 12 of their last 26 away matches. Since they've been at this level, Jack, they've lost 24 of 49 away matches. I think that has been the problem for them away from home because at the keep mode, they're unbelievable. I think they've won 10 straight league games bar the playoffs. Harrogate, though, so quickly on transition, looked so dangerous and looked like they could score. Only had an expected goal of 0.56, but it's the first win at home this season. And they are low on expected goals, and expected goals. And possession, but they know who they are, and they got a goal, stuck by the principles, defended really well, and didn't really feel like Doncaster were ever going to get back into the game.
Every credit to Harrogate Town, to be honest, because I saw some predictions on Twitter, not mine, but tipping Doncaster to win 4 or 5-0. And if you're going to put a team down like that, they're probably going to backfire, and they're going to get on the front foot. But I was really impressed by Harrogate. James Daly, I think, is a phenomenal player, just coming deep, especially on the left, and then just driving forward. He got an assist. Ellis Taylor on the left-hand side, he's been such a good player for Harrogate. I was actually surprised that he played this well, because probably that I didn't know much about him, because he's not had sort of a pedigree where I think he was at Hartlepool before, and I've not watched much of Hartlepool recently, but he's great going forward.
Have you ever watched Hartlepool in your life? Be honest.
I can name one player. I think Nicky Featherstone. At Hartlepool.
I can name you one. Nathan Sherron.
Yeah, Nathan Sherron. But
Alex Cairns is a club legend at Hartlepool, you know.
Who is?
Alex Cairns. He went on an emergency 1-game loan.
Oh, yeah. Well, for Doncaster, yeah, they surprised me and they surprised a few. They had 20 shots, 5 on target. They didn't create enough. I don't think the performance was as bad as Doncaster fans were making out. Maybe it's just the heat of the moment when they're coming out the ground or whatever, and they've seen they get beat 2-0 by Harrogate. And I just think in the first half they were fluid, but obviously they just didn't create the clear-cut chances for Billy Sharp, and then they changed it to 2 up top and Joe Ironside, and they couldn't really get grips in the game. And then the second goal for Harrogate, you're starting Tom Anderson, and he's really, really slow. And when I think Libby Marsh, is it? Up top for Harrogate. When you're starting a player like that who'll happily go in behind and stretch their back line out, you need someone like Alohu who can catch up to them kind of players, and that's where it went wrong really for Doncaster for me.
Yeah, agree with that. Now, Barrow, I'm a big admirer for what they've done so far this season.
Oh, yeah.
Now, they've got a good group there, and I've kept a keen eye on it in the last few weeks. Now, they've got a good group where I really like the signing of Theo Vassell. That's where my eyes pricked up a little bit. And people can go, Theo Vassell, and it wasn't great at Salford. I thought he was good at Salford. I thought he was consistent. And if I'm honest with you, Jack, I had him down as Fleetwood should target him. He's Northwest based. You know, he's local to the area. He's a good signing, and obviously training in Manchester fits in very well as well. So for him, you know, you've got a good base, and you've only got to see that Feely last week goes in goal, and the kind of the support he gets and gets man of the match. I think it's quite hard done by that they put a goalkeeper back in and they put him back in his normal position. I think that there might be words like, "Well, did I not do enough? I only conceded one." But Ben Jackson is the difference. And I really like Eccleston on the other side as well. And when I watched them against Carlisle, and you're going to laugh at me because I know why, but when I watched them against Carlisle, both of them, were, Eccleston especially, really impressed me. And I said to someone, I went, talk to me about him and, on loan. But Ben Jackson on the other side, I think he is permanent. 3 assists now. Now, the first one's a really good corner, floated in, bang, Foley, who scored against Grimsby last year, and they've not won at Grimsby for like 65 years or 55 years, something of the likes like that. In recent history, been awful. And then Theo Vassell, who scored on the opening day against Crewe, really good. And what I like about them in terms of they've conceded the lowest expected goals in the league, so they're not the goal isn't being peppered in. Look, last week people going, why aren't they peppering the goal? They're trying to. The way that Barrow defending the block, it's so hard to play against. And Wimbledon are the same. When you will build success at this level, if you play like that, if you sit in a good bank and you're organised and hard to break down, and you've got good forward options. Like you talk about their forward options, your Dom Telford, your Jed Garners, your Aquas up there as well, who are good players. And there's others that we haven't named as well. But then you've got centre half scoring, set pieces are really good. In terms of expected goals, they are down there. And 4.4, but they've averaged 9 goals. They're over by 4.6. They're doing things in the right moments. They're sitting in with the right moments. They've got 4 really good results. If it wasn't for a last-minute goal, they would have won 4 in a row. Look, they were unfortunate at Carlisle where they should have got a point. and they play some tough sides. I think this, Clements has done a really good job. Yes, he started off last year really well at Gillingham and it went to pot, but this Barrow group is different. I think that the fans are bought into what he wants to do, the players are bought into it, and as a club, they are together right now, and that can only mean one good thing. And Barrow, I think, could have a really good season this year, Jack.
I think Barrow I've probably been the most impressed with, and I like them a lot this season. I know that you've said a lot about them just then, but just about the energy in that. They're such a well-drilled side, but going forward, they won't do anything too drastically to get caught out on the transition. They'll happily just stick to the basics, maybe stand the winger up one-on-one with the opposition fullback, then get Jackson or Eccleston both overlapping. I think they're both from Huddersfield. Like you said about Ben Jackson, he was bought permanently, but obviously Eccleston on loan from Huddersfield. And obviously
really going forward.
Yeah, and they're both on different sides of the pitch, but they still got that sort of relationship between themselves. And I seen Lewis in the chat, he's been saying about Barrow, and yeah, I've been really impressed by them. And 2 set-piece goals, both they've moved to get away from the man, but it's poor marking from Grimsby, to be honest. And they had a goal disallowed against Harrogate, Canavan, who got his head from the cross and obviously got disallowed. But Barrow, from set pieces, from open play, they are really, really good. And I think out of the sides that are up there, which I wouldn't expect to be up there, I think Barrow could actually potentially stay there just because they're really energetic. They've got good players filling in when they obviously get dropped. And I think probably the only thing that they could stumble really across is still not putting a goalkeeper on the bench. Clements didn't learn from that, and he's still.
I don't think they've got one. I don't think they've got one.
Not?
No, genuinely, I don't think. So they've obviously got someone in for the weekend, but I don't think I genuinely don't think they've got one from what I've heard. But defensive, well, you said that about Feely. He started the season, he got dropped, and look at him, he's come back in and had that game. And you talk about Charlie Adam talking about a squad. They've got 23, 24 players. It's not just when you look at Notts County, they've got a great squad overall at the back now as well. But you think when you mention Notts County, you say Jatta, you say McGoldrick, you say Crowley, and you say Jones, because they are the players getting the headlines. But there are others, don't get me wrong. It'd be unfair not to mention them, like Bedeau at the back. Robertson's a good player. But when you mention Barrow, you go, they might not have the 9s or 10s out of 10s like Notts County do, the shine like a Luke Molyneux at Doncaster.
Everyone puts the shift in.
But it's like Fleetwood. They've got a lot of 7s. They've got a lot of 8s. They've got very few 4s and 5s. And they've got players that want to be at the football club. Because if you are going to Barrow, realistically, you've got to devote yourself because it's miles away from a lot of other places. And maybe that geographically will help them.
Yeah, definitely. And it's good to see even away when they travel, they're still keeping the same standards. And just on Grimsby a bit, some fans are actually calling for Artell to maybe get sacked. Look,
they've been involved in 20 goals, Jack. I look at it like that. They've 62% possession, and yes, they're frustrated. But in terms of conceded goals, they're 6th up there. But expected goals, mid-table, 16, possession 16, goals scored 13. Realistically, they are doing what they should be doing. And they played Notts County away, Fleetwood away, who came down. Realistically, I'm not going to big Fleetwood up, but you think Fleetwood are the team that could potentially go and do better than a Grimsby. Barrow are a really good side. They played Bradford City, so they've had a tough start. It's not like they've been playing nobody. This league is very difficult. We are going to move on from that. Accrington 0, Crewe 1. I'll let you do the talking on this one. But for Accrington, lost 4 of their 6 matches. First loss at home, coincidentally, as well. Put Vale up next. In terms of goals conceded, 23rd in the division. And they're conceding far too much. In terms of expected goals and shots on target, mid-table. In terms of possession, 12th again. In goals, 17th. They're just not taking the chances, and they are getting punished at key moments like the other day against Crewe.
Yeah, and I think with the other front two, Mooney and Knowles against Crewe, and when Crewe got Demetriou, Nat LaBelle and Williams, they're just going to get bullied because Lee Bell's side, like Barrow, they want to be structured and they want to be big, and you have a mix of experience and young players. And for Accrington, they haven't scored in the last 2 games, which wasn't the problem for them because they could score goals at the top end of the pitch. And I just think I thought Farron Rawson would help them a lot, to be honest, with the experience at the back at 27 years old, but doesn't seem to help them one bit, to be honest. And Harrogate at home, you need to win. Crewe at home, you need to win. Colchester at home, you're 1-0 up. You concede a goal at the back post where your winger's not aware of the runner of Goodliff, and Wally from about 6 yards out puts the ball over the bar twice, and you've got to win that. And John Doolan not even get the first 3 points of the season, just needs to get a clean sheet, and it needs to get the right balance to Accrington. And fair play to Crewe, to be honest. They've got 2 clean sheets in a row now, obviously against Morecambe and Accrington, the current bottom 2. Philip Marshall, big props to him, because MK Dons fans slaughtered him left, right and centre. And obviously it can demote a player's confidence, but he's gone on loan now to Crewe. He's got 3 clean sheets to his name so far this season, a young keeper, and that'll do him a world of good. And I think it'll give Crewe some momentum. Lee Bell won't allow any slackers in the side, and neither will captain Mickey Demetriou. And
what a guy.
It's 3 wins in a row now for Crewe, and I think they could push on from here.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you are new, please get liking. Thank you very much for that, Will. Appreciate that. Get liking the stream and get subscribing down below. Just lastly on Accrington against Crewe. Crewe now 3 wins in a row, 10 points from the last 12. And I said to you, didn't I, last week, that I looked at their fixtures, 2 weeks ago, when they beat Bromley. I looked at the fixtures and I thought, Morecambe at home, Accrington away, looks slightly favourable for them. And even against Chesterfield, they were in the game. Expected goals, we were in. And that point against Swindon at home, where they drew 0-0, for Accrington, worried for them. Port Vale, a club that I have a lot of respect for. I think it's a great football club. And what I like about their goal, Jack, is Connor Ripley has always had the ability to play out long, and he's always had a good kick on him. He goes out long. Jaden Stockley, who was frozen out at the start of the season, in search of Payton, who he's 5'10" and could barely win a header, and Vale are very dominant in the air and very physical and very long ball at times, and get it in the mix and get the ball forward, very Wrexham and Bradford-esque. And that's the best way of playing football. I'd want to watch that, because you get the ball forward and you're asking questions. Stockley wins the header. Then it's on to Tollard, who has been unbelievable, by the way, who flicks it on to Chislett. Chislett, 3rd goal of the season, has now scored 25 goals and got 10 assists in his last 130 games from a midfielder, which is really good. Tollard is a player that looks a lot more athletically fit this year, a lot sharper, a bit more of a spring in his step, a lot quicker. I remember watching him, some highlights when he beat Swindon 7-4. I think he got a goal from memory that day as well. But Tollard, 1 goal already, 4 assists, so he's playmaking. He's dropped a little bit deeper. He's now longer he is the main man, but he's enjoying getting assists. And it reminds me a bit of Harry Kane, where he can not drop as deep as a Harry Kane, but he drops down. I'm comparing Lawrence Tollard and Harry Kane, and it's like, because Harry Kane's nowhere near as good as Tollard, let's be honest about it. I know what I want. Tollard flicks the ball on, and the way he does it, the way he can drop deep, because he is fitter, because he can get into those positions now. And this is a player that only got 2 assists last year. He's already got 4, and he's finding a new platform. This Vale side will get better, and it took a while to get going. They won on the opening day, a couple of defeats, but it's an honest group. I really like Connor Ripley. I really like Chislett. I really like Garrity. I really like Stockley, Tollard, Payton, Byers, Hennigan. I like the squad. I like the football club. I like what they're doing. And, Tollard came from the Brighton Academy and did well. And they limited Chesterfield, who I think this year are going to be a varying. Do you remember when Fleetwood had the first season under Barton, where they did absolutely nothing, where 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 defeats? Saying that, in terms of possession, 3rd, goals 5th, conceded 7th, shots on target 11th, and 3rd lowest expected goals conceded. They are up there in statistics. They are competing at a good level. Great game this, in terms of it was only 1-0, but a good win for Vale. Great club.
Yeah, and just looking at what Zach said, some players Stockley is. I wish some Fleetwood fans would actually, see that really, but because Stockley don't move as well,
He's
people
got
don't really
9 goals, 4
appreciate what.
assists in the last 19 games, mate. 9 goals, 4 assists in 19 games.
And because he don't move as well, people don't appreciate what he does, even when he don't get the goal contributions.
It's a bit like another player that Vale signed as well from Fleetwood.
But no, Talaj, like you said, he got 19 goals and 9 assists last season for Aldershot in the National League. And I remember when he signed, I didn't know much about him. Tom Williams on Twitter knows a lot about the National League. He said that he's so unselfish. He'll want to create as well as obviously scoring goals, and 7 goal contributions so far this season, all in all competitions. Sorry. He's got 5 assists and 2 goals. He's really been a live wire. And also, like Zach said about Byers and Garrity at midfield duo in the league, you've still got Ryan Crosdale on the bench, who's an absolute workhorse. So when you've got them at midfield option for Port Vale, and you've got Chislett, who's obviously in midfielder, but obviously he plays in a more advanced position, you're in a really good position. And what I've noticed about Port Vale against Doncaster, I listened to Darren Moore's interview, and he said at half time, the only positive he could take from the whole match was that at half time, the lads dealt with the change in shape well. Port Vale have gone from a 5-4-1 with obviously Payton up top, Tolaj and Chislett sort of as the 2 10s playing off him, and the wing backs getting high on. They've now changed to a 4-2-3-1. They've won 2 games on the bounce. They beat Newport 4-1. They've now beat Chesterfield 1-0. And that changing system where you've got Baker, Boaty in the lineup, who's an exciting winger. And then you've got, like I said, Jaden Stockley playing to his strengths. Who knew? In a Darren Moore system, you get a physical striker up top instead of Payton. You do well. And it's good that Darren Moore has finally seen that. And Chesterfield, Will Griggs now injured. I've heard that Scott Hogan is a bit rumoured, but then if Scott Hogan does sign, you have Grigg and Hogan battling for a number 9 spot where they don't play a front 2. So that'll be interesting how that pans out, really, if they do go down that line in the free agent market. And they only have 4 shots, Chesterfield, which for the front line is a bit weak for them, really, because of James Berry, Dobra, and Mark Candy. I thought they would have created more than that, but good win for Vale. Clean sheet at home at Vale Park. Need to make Vale Park a fortress. Chesterfield, been a bit of an iffy start, but I think because a lot of people had them in their top 7, they've had a lot of pressure on them to start the season well. But they've got to remember they've just come up from the National League.
Yeah, 100%. And they conceded 60-odd goals last year, so it will take time to adapt. Last few minutes, get your questions in. Thank you to the 42 people now that are watching, the highest number so far this stream. Great to see that we're ending with a bang. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. We do League One live on a Sunday and League Two every Monday night. So we do this, talk about every team. So if you are new and you are fancying some League Two content, because there's very few of it out there, and especially long form content every Monday. But our next Monday, where we'll be live on Sunday evening, slightly earlier at 6 o'clock, because of Fleetwood's game against Morecambe. It would be appreciated. Get subscribed down below and get some questions in the live chat down below. Before we do so, Jack, go and give your plug where people can go and find you on Twitter or X.
JK Analysis 7. I've got some analysis threads coming up on Wigan's 4-0 win over Bristol Rovers and Dagenham and Redbridge 7-1 win against Gateshead. I'm looking forward to see how that panned out. And I do not just Fleetwood content, even though when I do Fleetwood content, we win. So I think I should do more of that, really.
There you are, boys. He's a once-a-season merchant, this bloke.
Well, no, because I'll be doing a Morecambe thread, and hopefully we go 2-2.
If we go 2-2, mate, give you the managerial jobs. Charlie Adam, get out. It wasn't the best game of the weekend for us. Walsall are a great side, and they will be good. What we feel about tomorrow? I think they'll pip us 2-1 tomorrow, Jack.
It's a bit hit and miss because obviously with
If we're at home,
Schumacher.
we had chances.
Yeah, definitely, especially how we beat West Brom and Rotherham at home. Yeah, I think we'll lose tomorrow, but obviously Ryan Shawcross is in charge. Adam knows him, not for his managerial ability, but it'll be interesting to see how that one pans out. Hopefully, the cos goes to round 4.
Absolutely. Who do you think will be the next manager after Saturday? I think that he knows his man. I don't think it'll be Pete Wild. I think Brian Barry Murphy. I think because they want to change the style.
I've heard someone rumoured Liam Richardson.
Yeah.
Apparently. I also saw a Carlisle fan, I think a bit confident, saying he wanted Stephen Schumacher. Imagine if he dropped to League Two.
I know. It is very much time. And on that note, that'll be the end of tonight's stream. Jack, thank you very much for joining me.
No worries. It's been a pleasure as always.
Absolutely. Really enjoyed it. And if you are new to the channel, please like the stream on your way out. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, I've been Cod Vlogs. He's been a midget as usual. And I've got to get it in there. I've got to get that in there somewhere, mate. Thanks very much for watching. Until next time, up the Cods. The curse is broken!
Woohoo!